Hi, my name is Amethyst Trelevin and this is another Ogham reading. This Ogham reading is for Theresa and it's number 776. Theresa, thank you for asking me to read for you. I appreciate that very much. Let's start up here as we usually do with our theme stave. This Ogham stave is Beth or Birch. And this is very much about new beginnings. This is about taking risks and about moving forward, knowing that things aren't always going to work out the way that you expect them to, but having the courage to do so nonetheless. In terms of its relationship with the past, which are these Oghams here, again it talks about all of the challenges that you've had to face, particularly in the last 6 months, and the new ways that you've had to live. You've had a bereavement, of course, which was pretty devastating, and that meant there were some fairly hefty changes for you as well. I'm not going to spend too much time here for you, but we'll just summarise it, I guess. This Ogham stave here is Pine or Ogham. And Pine is about having the capacity to see the bigger picture, if you will. Pine, it talks about you being able to take a helicopter view, seeing the broader aspect of your life. And particularly in the last few months, you've stepped back a little bit and stopped dealing with the detail and started reassessing what was really important for you. Underneath here we have these two Ogham staves. The one underneath is Hawthorn or Huath, and this is very much about problems, issues that you've had to deal with that I don't need to go into because of course you're already aware of what they are. But again, that's around bereavement. That's also around business. There's been a few decisions that you had to make around business, and I keep sensing as well that there were some issues that you had to make in terms of where you live. Sitting on top was Rowan or Lewis. This is about legality, and I sense here, I know you have a beautiful young daughter. I sense here there were some issues in the past around her as well, not in terms of health, but in terms of legal issues, in terms of where she's living, all of that kind of stuff. So the last 6 months in particular, the last year, but certainly the last 6 months has been really quite difficult for you. We talk here in the middle about the current state of play, if you will, for you, and mistletoe comes up. Now this very rarely comes up in a reading. Mistletoe is about needing to ride on the coattails of whatever it is happening for you. It's about holding fast for a little while. It's about just stepping back. You know you have to make decisions, but you're really reluctant to do so. And we'll go back to this one in a minute. But this is the area that I want to focus on for you. Because there are some anomalies here, and there's some information here that I know you won't want to hear, but there's also stuff in here that will confirm, I think, what you're already thinking. This Ogham stave here is Willow. This is a beautiful stave to have that themes your next 6 months or so. Next year, but predominantly the next 6 months. Willow is a very feminine Ogham. It's about magic, it's about intuition, it's about trusting who you really are, and I'm going to pick up on that in a minute with this Ogham here as well. Willow is about how you quite frequently listen to your heart and not so much your head. In terms of business, you are very logical and you get on with it, but in terms of affairs of the heart, you just listen to your heart and your head makes no headway in the discussion with you at all. In the coming year, it's really important to trust your instincts, but listen to your underlying instincts, not what you want. They are two different things, Theresa. You want a specific thing, and therefore you think that your intuition is telling you that if you go for it, I'm talking here now about in terms of love. I know that you want a lasting, deep and meaningful relationship, and because you want that, you tend to think that your intuition is telling you to go for it, when in actual fact you are masking your intuition by your wants. In the next 6 months instead, what this particular Ogham here is asking you to do is to actually trust your intuition, not what you want. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that you may well want a relationship with this particular gentleman that you mentioned to me, but listen to what your intuition is telling you, and it may not be what you want to hear, and we'll talk about that again in a minute. Now this one, I want to go back to this one because it has a relationship to mistletoe here. This is elder or rus, and elder is about listening to advice. And can you see here the relationship between these two? This is about the advice that your intuition gives to you, but it's also about the advice that other people give to you. You are headstrong. You are seen by some other people often as being almost stubborn in many respects. For you, it's not about stubbornness, it's about passion and dedication. And when you put your mind to something, it will happen. It's the last thing that will stop. Nothing will stop you doing what you want. You are headstrong and you go for it. Now that's okay when it comes to things that are sensible and logical, but when they are not appropriate, you need to stop and step back. This also has a part to play in this conversation as well. This one sitting over the top is gorse or on. Now gorse kind of reinforces all of this, and it says that your passion often takes over. So again, we're talking about that relationship between I want and what my intuition actually says I can have. So I'll make this really simple, and this is how do I say this? This is a really basic kind of example of what I'm saying. So you may well want a relationship with a gentleman called, let's just call him Fred for the sake of this explanation. And you feel in love with him and that there is massive potential. Your intuition, on the other hand, is actually saying, well, no, hang on, Theresa, hold up a minute, because this actually might not be the way to go, but because your passion and your want is so strong, you go for it anyway. So here is your passion and your want and your desire, which for you is really strong. We know that because it's on top as well, but also your character, the type of person you are, is very passionate, and that is a wonderful thing. However, your intuition, these things here, these three here, are screaming at you to say, stop, slow down. The person that you discussed with me in your email may not give you what it is that you want, and in actual fact these staves are saying, enjoy the time that you have together, but it is not long term. I'm really sorry, and I know that's not what you want to hear, but the Ogham staves are saying that is not a long-term relationship. In terms of business and all of that kind of realm, business, money, business for you, you often identify yourself by two major factors. One is your relationship status, and I know for you that's been an ongoing disappointment, is probably a good term, and there's been a little bit of tragedy there for you. But the other identity that you mark yourself by is your work. And with that, you are equally as passionate, as driven, as desired, as dedicated. You are going to have a change of direction Not in the next 4 or 5 months necessarily. It's about 8 months down the track. So it's heading towards Christmas time, January next year, when these staves here will start kicking in and there will be a change to what you do. Yes, you will be doing writing, and in actual fact you'll start writing before that period of time, but what you write and your audience, the people that you write to, will change quite dramatically over the next 2 years. Are you going to work with a particular group of people that you indicated to me? Absolutely, but not inside the next year. It's a little bit longer down the track. And as yet, you haven't worked out exactly in what capacity, how exactly that's going to occur. That will develop for you in the next 12 months. It does mean making some sacrifices. It does mean being away from home as well on many occasions. But if you go at it slowly and use the logic that you have, rather than your feet first, passion kind of approach to things, take things very slowly, have a very slow transition, a very gentle transition from one form of business income into the other, it's going to be a lot less rough for you. It's going to be much smoother. There are frustrations in terms of income coming up in the next year as well. There will not be as much income as you thought, so it's really important to keep the budget in check for the next 12 months or so. I also wanted to let you know that health-wise, you need to be taking a little bit of care of your health. This here talks about how you are passionate and driven and dedicated and so on and so forth. But I keep sensing in here as well that you haven't been too well, but that you've masked that as much as possible because you've needed to just keep going. This here, this stave here, talks very much about the year ahead for you. It's really important that you take care of your mental, emotional and physical health. Stop denying the fact that you are tired. You may well tell yourself that you are tired and exhausted, but you don't actually do anything about it. So stop telling yourself that you are just tired and that it's going to be okay, and actually in the next 12 months care for yourself instead of just talking about it or hiding it as you have been. Now your birth, Celtic birth Ogham stave is this one here, and this is Ivy, and this is absolutely indicative of who you are. Ivy is tenacious, it hangs on, it is passionate, it is strong, it is willful, it goes out and gets what it wants, and that's who you are. And that will never change because that is innate within your character, and it is fantastic, and don't you ever lose sight of the fact of how amazing that you are. What you need to do in the next 12 months though is temper that passion against logic. Think before you leap. Think before you speak. Ivy can also get a little bit knocked about as well, so it's really important again that you pick up on this Ogham and take care of your physical health in this coming year. Ivy also says that whilst money might be a bit of an issue in this coming year, you always find a way, you always will, so don't worry too much about that. Just know that your strength is going to get you through. One other thing that this talks about, and it's in relation to some of this stuff as well, is that not only are you going to help that group of people that you talked about to me in your email, in your request for a reading, but there's another group of people that you are going to support as well. They haven't even crossed your mind yet, but that is coming, and you will see that coming up in February of next year. Your birth deity, your Celtic birth deity, is Guinevere. Fantastic, strong-willed deity, fantastic goddess who really pushes you forward. And your Celtic animal spirit is butterfly, and that's about transformation for you. So it's about this movement from all of the change from last year and the devastation of the last year into a new life, which is absolutely blossoming for you, beginning inside the next 6 months and carrying on for 18 months. Remember that your theme on here was Beth or Birch. It's about a total new beginning. There's also, I keep sensing, a new address for you inside the next 2 years as well. You're going to be moving house, and that's to do with your new business ventures going forward. So I hope that is helpful for you, Theresa. There's some really positive stuff happening for you inside the next year and a half. But your key thing to take away from this is to balance your intuition, balance your passion with your logic, take things slowly.